everyone, welcome to this week's Halton Hills housing update. So I've got February's numbers today as well as what happened last week, so jumping right into that. In February of 2024, the market was fairly strong and it was doing what we normally see it do in a February, which is sort of low inventory, sales are pretty high, and that's really fueling our market going into the spring. We're usually seeing bidding wars, etc. So in February of 2024, we sold 65 units and our average price was $1,092,000. Looking at this February, we sold 37 units. That is a dramatic drop. So we are down 43% versus last February. And it definitely wasn't because of lack of inventory. I do think that people just kind of put on the brakes for varying reasons. So we saw not a lot of stuff sell in February, and I mean that was reflected in our weeks. We were seeing very low numbers of sales, so I'm not surprised to see the number of units down very dramatically. The good news is that our average price didn't suffer that much because, like I was saying in all my weekly reports, majority of the sales we were seeing were over that $1 million mark. So our average price is $1,075,000 for this past February. That is only down 1.5%, and that's basically even with January. So there's some good news there that even though we saw the number of units going down, our prices didn't dramatically fall. That being said, generally, if that kind of trend continues, we do not see prices climb, but we're gonna have to see what happens. So now looking at what happened last week in Halton Hills, Georgetown had 8 sales. So a softer week than we had seen before, a little bit higher than our slow weeks, but 8 is still not enough listings to keep our market moving. And the other bad news is that we had 15 new listings. So again, we're seeing a lot more inventory coming on compared to properties being sold. I will say a lot of them are relists, so a lot of the inventory we got rid of in the fall is re-entering the market. So that should at some point slow down, but I guess we'll see. Acton this week had 1 sale and 2 new listings. Glen Williams saw no sales and 1 new listing, and there was no sales and no new listings in the rural market. So looking at the 9 sales that we had last week, 5 of them were over the $1 million mark. This has been a trend almost all year that we're seeing, is that we are seeing our higher price points being the majority of sales. I don't really understand what's happening there, but that is definitely the trend we are consistently seeing. In terms of new listings though, of the 18, 11 were under $1 million. So there's just this, it's very odd what's happening in terms of our price points. Our lower price points usually are very hot by now and really fueling the market. And that's just not really the case. It's not really hot in our lower price points. It's not really hot in our upper price points either, but they're moving a little more rapidly. So we're gonna continue to watch this. I mean, it's definitely helping keep our average price point up, but it's just a bit of an odd trend. In terms of properties that relisted, came off the market, etc., we had 13 properties that went down and relisted at a lower price, and so I'm not surprised by that. There is a lot of stuff sitting on the market. There was 4 properties that came off the market and 3 that just relisted at the same to freshen up their listing. So now the bad news is looking at active inventory. All of Halton Hills is up to 162 active listings. We are creeping very close again to that 200 mark. Every week it seems to be climbing. We really need to see buyers getting active here. The market's just not great for sellers. So we're not following normal trends right now. So this is a bit odd. Looking at Georgetown, we hit the 100 mark this week. So last week we were at 94. We are up to 100 active listings in Georgetown. That like kind of makes me sad because we didn't really have a period where, I mean, our inventory stayed relatively low in the 70s for a while, but we really never saw a hot market when our inventory was lower, and I suspect we're just in for an inventory climb here. So let's see what happens the next few weeks. Looking at our price point, under 800,000 is up from 10 to 13 active listings. 800 to a million is actually down from 22 to 21 active listings. 1 to 1.5 million is up slightly to 35 active listings from 34. And 1.5 million plus took a big jump from 28 to 31 active listings. So things are climbing, and it's not great news for sellers because buyers just, even with interest rates where they are compared to where we were like this time last year, I'm really surprised our market is not feeling hotter right now. I think the general consensus is just there's some uneasiness amongst consumers and amongst like the Canadian population. So let's see how March pans out, especially with all the changes that are coming down. I guess time will tell. Acton this week, we are up from 10 to 12 active listings. So Acton is slowly starting to climb as well. Glen Williams also starting to climb. They are up to 6 active listings, and the rural market remained the same at 44 active listings. So overall, I would say our February numbers are in line with where I thought they would be. Definitely not surprised to see low unit selling. I'm happy to see that our prices are not dropping yet. But yeah, with these inventory levels, we all know that our prices go down as inventory climbs. So we'll be watching that closely through March. Like I said, hopefully all the economy and all this stuff that's going on will kind of level out soon, and we can sort of get back to normal. But for right now, the market does not feel super, super great. And that is the consensus amongst almost all the realtors. Our listings just aren't very busy, and it's just a weird time. And buyers are just not being super aggressive. So we'll see how March goes. So I will be back next week to see how we did the first week of March. Have a great week, everyone.